Om. 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Suryakoti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, Saraswati Namastubhyam, Varade Kamarupini, Vidyarambham Karishyami, Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So, some of the verses I have chosen are all my favorite verses. Most of the verses are all my favorite verses. So I will ask all of you to open up. So anybody knows what is my, where will I start? Any guesses? Question
धर्म
paper का?
क्षेत्र
हाँ?
धर्म क्षेत्र
धर्म क्षेत्र? नहीं नहीं नहीं. वो तो फिर वो तो then that will become so that will become
18 days.
yeah, 18 days as Swami Dayanand Saraswati did. 18 days he took only on one shloka. So anybody, any guesses? Which will be my first question? चलिए. Abhishek, you should know. Okay, open chapter 2, verse 47.
Um, but in the message it says 247.
So here's the question. When we say in Advaita Vedanta, when we say Karmanye Adhikara Aste, Adhikara, the word we have seen, it means control, it also means eligibility. I have eligibility to act. I have. So when we say, are you an Adhikari to receive this mantra? Adhikari, when you are Adhikari to receive this mantra means you acquired the eligibility to receive this mantra, right? These are the words. So the word Adhikara basically means these two. So when we look at these two, my question to everybody here is how in Advaita can we explain, when we use Advaitic interpretation, what do we mean by saying eligibility for action and not for results? That is my first question. Let me complete the entire question. The second is, in my daily life, how do I apply this? What happens when I apply this principle in my daily life? And third, is there any other verse or any chapter that you can think of, any chapter, any verse in any chapter that you can think of where it will reflect the same or similar teaching? So these are the three parts to the same question. And you are free to debate, discuss, and do joint answering, even if that is also allowed.
So my preference is the control meaning of adhikari, because that's the way I read that verse is, you really have control only on your actions and not on the fruits. So focus on the actions and, do not become an instrument for trying to make your actions yield the fruit. I mean, don't work like that. You have decided what is the objective you have, and now focus only on the action.
How does this apply in Advaita Vedanta? I want the interpretation from an Advaitic standpoint. What is the Advaitic viewpoint? First and foremost, let us understand that. The Advaitic viewpoint is there is nothing else excepting me, which I have pervaded everywhere. Right. So does it mean that this does not exist? No, it also exists. But it is only an appearance of a reality. It is not the reality. That is all that we are saying. There is only one. Right? There are no two. Now, how does Karmanyevadikaraste apply over there?
See, if you are
Is
the
it the
doer, the object desired, the action itself, everything is you, then no longer is the worry about the fruit. So now you can basically you ask yourself, why is it that everything is happening? It's happening again for that experience that I need to get. And how do I get the experience? Is through the action. The journey is the goal. So it focuses me on the action. And from an Advaitic perspective, the fruit is not something that is different that needs to be got. It's me. Okay, it's already me. So in that case, that worry is gone.
Okay, anybody else?
और ब्रह्म को ब्रह्म में ही अर्पण कर रहे हैं जो तो if everything is Brahma, so then there is nothing else to aspire for. And like the second part, what happens, because if I apply, then I will stop thinking about the result which is in the future, and hence not be anxious or worried, and hence my full attention will be here and now, and because of which my actions will be a lot more proper and focused.
Okay. That's a very good view of how we are looking at this. Any other?
And for third question, it must be in chapter 3, Karma Yoga, verse number 10, 11, 12. I don't have book here. I'll be reaching home in 15 minutes. So
Okay. We were very near. Any specific reason as to why you have said this?
sir, you're asking me, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, it explains the karma. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Actually वो भी बोल सकते हैं, योग कर्मसु कौशलम is also related, कि कर्म में कौशल ही योग है, and कर्म में कौशल तभी आएगा जब
An
result के
Advaitic
बारे में
viewpoint,
And
of
the same point is same karma kaushal is explained in the karma yoga, that same verse number 10, 11, 12, I think. So whatever you do the karma, you do put the 100% effort with the
very
with
good.
full effort and same thing.
Very
I
good.
think
Very
so.
good. I will refer you to here. Okay, but Sudhir, you have any thoughts here? And I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just asking you.
No, nothing further.
Asim ji, any thoughts?
इसमें मतलब what I feel is when you are lost in the thoughts of Krishna, then whatever you do is with your full force and full consciousness. You have to leave the results to him. He will be there to look after the results. You do your best in accomplishing whatever you have taken up.
So are you saying that there is he and there is you?
I mean,
because
it is in me. Yes, it is in me.
If you say it is in me, that means there is you and there is something inside you. There is this basis of that standpoint comes from chapter 4, verse 24. Brahma arpanam brahma havir brahmagno brahmanautam brahmaiva tena gantavya brahma karma samadhina. That is number one. But let us take it one step away from the Advaitic thinking and say, is there a direct meaning of this particular section, verse itself? Then there is, if you look at chapter number 3, verse number 19, where he says, Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara. Right? He says, asakto hyachara karma paramapnoti purushaha. So very clearly, he is indicating that asakta fal ke upar asakti rekh ke kaam karo. Very clearly, same verse. It's virtually exactly the same verse. So if you want to refer this back to somewhere else, I would first refer to 319 as the direct meaning reference. I would refer to 424 as another reference of saying from an Advaitic viewpoint, there is no karma that is happening. It is all just a play that is happening. And that itself again gets repeated. If you look at chapter 5, verse number 8 and 9, it says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manye tattvavid. I don't do anything. What is happening outside? Now, this is the difficult verse that we keep chanting, right, Abhishek? Pashyan, sprishan, right? Pashyan, Srinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan. All of this that is happening, it is appearing to happen. And therefore, the results of all of that have nothing to do with me at all. They're just there. So neither the action...
What is it, chapter 3:18, the one before 19, where he says, he has nothing to gain. Naiva tasya krito nartho, na krite
neha kashana. Correct. So that whole part,
he has nothing to gain, and therefore he had to, and therefore he says in 19, you should do it only with a attachment.
So very beautifully, as Veenaji said, that portion of chapter 3 repeats. See, you have to remember, chapter 2 is called Sankhya Yoga. It is not about the Sankhya philosophy of Kapila. Sankhya comes from the word Sankhya. Sankhya means numbers. He has enumerated all the principles. All the principles. Entire Gita. Almost. Right? The few things are not there, which we will talk when we have finished the entire chapter, entire Gita. But there are, barring those few things which have been omitted, everything is enumerated in chapter 2. But it is all in the sutra form. Right? It is in the sutra form. What is the sutra form? Sutra form means it will be one small, crispy tenet, which has been tied up very tightly and given to you. Atha ato brahma jigyasa. Atha brahma jigyasa. 4 words. You can write 15 pages on this.
Yeah.
Right? You can write 15 pages on this. And exactly. And Acharya has written 150 pages on this. So the fact remains that these are very tightly tied. So when he says karmanyavadhikaraste, it's a very tightly tied knot over there. It's a sutra, right? And a thread which has been tied up and it has to be opened. So therefore, when you open it, you get all these various chapters, various references. You saw a reference in 3, you see a reference in 4, you see a reference in 5. Okay, good one. Yes, please.
On the Advaita part of it, one is that, see, when we say a mango, the mango is from the time the seedling was sowed to, it grows, and even after it becomes a raw mango, the process of ripening, everything. So the entire thing is, it's one. So similarly, in this action also, whatever action is being done, it's all one. Only thing is, later it is all, what should we say, samarpanam. But again, there maybe the Dvaita comes in. But I was looking at it from the mango and any fruit and action and fruit.
Okay.
Amirji,
go ahead.
Just one more perspective to add to what was said, Abhishek and others said about doing things without worrying about past and future, without worrying about the results. From a daily life, what does it mean in terms of conduct? For how do you convert it? One other dimension which I remember from some things that we spoke about during the Kailash Yatra is there is no superior acts and inferior acts. And you mentioned Swami Chinmayananji, if the chappals were not organized, he would start going and putting the chappals in order and stuff. So that is from a practical perspective, I guess that is the other aspect of to add to this.
You're right. So and I'm happy you raised this because nobody talked about it when that was part of the question as to how do I apply this in my day-to-day life. And one of the easiest things that happens is when I give up my continual focus on the result, continuous focus on the result, and start focusing on the process, I become de-stressed. My stress goes away. Because my stress is coming from expectation of result, isn't it? ये अच्छा होगा ना, ये अच्छा होगा ना, ये अच्छा होगा ना. And I did this practical example. My mother was one of my biggest guinea pigs on from whom I could do a lot of experiments. So she was a hardcore Dvaita philosopher with herself. She has a Bal Gopal, which we have a Bal Gopal at home, which she used to worship, and he would be taken out for morning walks. He would be taken out in the evening for an evening tour. He would be bathed, he would be given tea, all of things. The entire day was revolving around this particular person. And her always, whenever she would cook for something, say for a Janmashtami or something, she would be worried, ye acha hoga na, ye acha hoga na, ye acha hoga na. So one day I told her, and she would be, completely focused on the cooking. And one day I told her, aankh band karke cook karo na. She said, impossible. So I said, nahi karte hain, chalo. And she agreed, right? So so I tied her eyes up. I put one of those वो जो लगाते हैं ना वो flights में when you're going on a flight, what it's called. So they put that, and I blindfolded her, and she kept instructing, telling अब चीनी डाल दो, अब दूध डाल दो, and I'll keep stirring. Her only job was to stir. And when I asked her to open her eyes and I said, were you worried about how the shira will turn out? She said, no, I was worried about, are you doing the right things? Am I doing the right things? I was no longer worried about whether the shira will turn out right or not. Right? Now, did the worry go away? No, it didn't go away, but it moved to a better place. Right? I mean, it's a more productive place for the worry to be. Because the worry is now on the input and not on the output. Am I making a good sales call? Am I actually talking to the right person? Am I preparing my pitch properly? Is my preparation proper? Have I rehearsed the pitch that I'm going to talk to with my client? This is what I would prepare on. And instead of saying, will I get the check? Will I get the check? Will I get the check? That's stress, not pressure. So thanks Sudhir for raising this. And honestly, it's a shloka that comes into almost every classroom of mine. So every classroom of mine, this comes in. Because the whole corporate world has somehow shifted their focus into the output rather than the input. And if I talk about the input, this has to come in. So, okay, next one. This is an interesting one. Chapter 2, verse number 70. Chapter 2, verse number 70. I will read out the chapter verse for everybody's benefit. It is the beautiful verse which talks about the ocean. So, apuryamana achala prathishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve shantim apnoti na kama kami. So, this is verse number 270. My questions. What is the image of the ocean here? How does this apply to handling desires in today's world? And again, cross-reference. I'm very big on cross-referencing for the simple reason that, when you start doing cross-referencing, you actually get to really do manan. Otherwise, without manan, you cannot do cross-referencing. So, and obviously you have to read. So one of the things that I will keep asking is cross-reference karo. So 2 questions. What is this ocean? And how does this apply?
यहाँ जो ओशन है ये एक तरह से स्थिर व्यक्ति के लिए बताया गया है जिसका मन चित्त और विवेक स्थित है एक ही जगह पर। और इसमें जैसे यहाँ एग्जाम्पल भी बताया है ना कि समुद्र जैसे होता है तो स्थिर रहता है, उसमें चाहे हजारों नदियां भी आके मिले तो वो अपनी सीमाएं नहीं लांघता है, राइट। उसमें कभी उफान भी नहीं आता, यानी वो शांत रहता है, एक जैसा रहता है। तो जो व्यक्ति मन चित्त बुद्धि से अपने आप को स्थिर कर लेता है परमपिता परमात्मा में, या उसको एक जगह कर लेता है, तो उसके अंदर चाहे सुख आए दुख आए, बहुत सारी उसको प्रशंसाएं मिले या उसको कुछ भी उसको बुरा बोले, तो दुख आए जीवन में, सुख आए या कोई, तो वो एक समान रहता है। उसके अंदर थॉट प्रोसेस जो है, एक सोचता है कि ये एक प्रवाह है जो ऐसे ही चलेगा, ये सब ऐसे ही चलेगा।
ओके,
समुद्र
वेरी नाइस।
यहाँ, और व्यक्ति भी जो होता है आपका सेकंड प्रश्न है हाउ अप्लाई,
हाँ,
तो
इसको
ये
प्रयोग क्या
हमारे
है?
जीवन में जब अप्लाई होता है, इसका उपयोग ये है कि हम यदि अपन परब्रह्म में रहना चाहते हैं, अपने आप को स्टेज पर ले जाना चाहते हैं, देन आगे आप बताएंगे शायद इसके विषय में कि योग करते हुए हम इस सबको प्राप्त करने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं। कर नहीं पाते हैं, हालांकि ये कोई बिरले ही लोग होते होंगे, पर यदि हम ट्राई करें और उनसे इफेक्टेड नहीं होने दें अपने आप को, ये सोचे कि तो होने वाली क्या है, लाइक सिनेमा का जो पर्दा होता है कि तो स्थिर चीज है, इस पर तो प्रोजेक्शन होगा, आएगा और जाएगा। ठीक इसी तरह से जीवन की परिस्थितियों में ये सब चीजें आएंगी और जाएंगी, ये तो होने वाली क्रियाएं हैं, इससे मुझे इफेक्ट नहीं होता। मैं इतना ही समझती हूँ। तो यही सब इसमें है कि हमें भी इसी तरह से होना है जीवन में। ये सब तो आता ही रहेगा क्योंकि हमारे गुरुजन के जो बैकपैक्स है वो भरे हुए फुल ऑफ द रसगुल्ला, ये तो हमें खाने ही पड़ेंगे। तो इसमें क्या घबराना कि ये हो गया, बट हमें नॉलेज होनी चाहिए उस चीज को कि ये जो हो रहा है ये मेरे ही कर्मों का जो हिसाब किताब हो रहा है, तो ऐसे।
So actually on this, during the Manan, I was asking the question, why ocean? Because when we surface dwellers look at the ocean, we see the waves, we see the tsunami, we see the typhoons, the rain that pours in and all that. But actually, if you just go below the surface of the ocean, and given the vastness of the ocean, you go down 15 feet and it is still, it's quiet. And 15 feet is nothing, it's just the skin, okay, given the depth of the ocean. So when I was doing the Manan, the first question is, why ocean? And then they say, oh, okay, the ocean is so huge that it cannot be changed. You can pour as much amount of fresh water you're pouring into the ocean, it still remains saline, okay? And then if you look at the question, desires enter the ocean, just like the desire, you take it in. To me, the link I wanted to make over here is, see, a desire comes because if I want something for myself, but then the ocean never, when the rivers pour into the ocean will never say, I want you to pour. It never, so it is never something that it asks for itself. So we should accept these desires in the same way and just proceed to act what needs to be done in order to achieve what is the goal of that specific desire. Desire itself is not bad as long as it is not selfish. That is my take on this.
Okay. Yes, Abhishek.
So the image or visual of the ocean, so just like एक समुद्र में जैसे नदियां जाके मिलती रहती है बट वो कभी भी ओवरफ्लो नहीं हो जाता, विच मीन्स कि इट रिमेन्स इन अ वे अनरफल्ड। तो उसी तरह अगर हम अपना माइंड अपने अंतर मन में झांके और मनस में जो हमेशा एक ये थॉट्स का और डिजायर्स का जो कामी बोला है वो ओशियन ही है, मतलब नदियां आके मिलती रहती हैं, मतलब डिजायर आफ्टर डिजायर नॉन स्टॉप आते रहते हैं, थॉट्स आते रहते हैं। तो वैसे ही अगर हम अनरफल्ड रहे, जैसे एक नदी के किनारे कोई बैठा है और बस देख रहा है कि ये फ्लो चला जा रहा है, मतलब वैसे बस ऑब्जर्व करें, तो मतलब हम स्थित प्रज्ञा में हो सकते हैं, जहां फ्रॉम द विजडम की ये बस डिजायर आ रहे हैं और जा रहे हैं, मुझे इसमें लिप्त नहीं होना है। तो जैसे ओशियन उससे अनरफल्ड रहता है, लिप्त नहीं होता है उसमें, ओवरफ्लो नहीं करता है, वैसे ही हमें भी वैसे ही करना चाहिए, स्थित प्रज्ञा में रहना चाहिए।
Okay. Yes, Asimji.
I think it just further refines 247 in how we achieve that state of mind. And it is again stressing on the process of 247, how we should, what kind of situations one can face while doing those the task that one is pursuing with full rigor. It is just I think there's some similarity to, I mean, it further refines that part in this shloka.
Okay, Partha.
The problem with being the last is all the points have been exhausted. But nevertheless, I try to add something. Some similarity between these and Akshara Brahma Yoga in chapter 8, in the sense that Krishna is trying to bring out the very consciousness, the Brahman in Arjuna. He sees Arjuna so much perplexed in the middle of the battlefield. So he is trying to tell Arjuna that Arjuna, you don't allow the sense organs to come and take over you, because Arjuna is under the influence of his mind very much, not so much as the body, but definitely the mind. And so he is telling that, like
No,
the same
sorry. I'm interrupting here just for a very simple clarification. Yeah. No, there is a very strong body identification. There is a very strong body identification.
Yeah, body identification also there. Yeah,
very
but
strong,
more of
because
the other side.
Because when I'm saying
the body,
my grandfather, my guru,
yeah,
my cousin, that relationship is in the body only, not even in the mind. So there is a very strong.
Okay, I was thinking the relationship that is also in the mind.
No, it is only in the body. See, I know you as Partho Sharati Banerjee only because you have this particular shape and form.
Yeah.
Not how we connect mentally. That is a different thing.
Okay.
But I know you and identify you as Parthasarathi Banerjee only because I identify myself in this form and shape as Samir.
Okay, in that sense, yes, both mind and body. So both mind and body, that's right. So Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that become as like the ocean and don't get affected by the ripples, by the amount of water coming into you. You be, unwavering in the face of all this. Be a witness. Just do your work. Finally, just do your karma.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else wants to add something? So
very similar thoughts. Very similar thoughts that I think a lot of people express the fact that what it clearly says is that desires are going to come. So it talks about the fact that the very fact that, like rivers, there is desires going to come. But if you are fully engrossed, and the reason for ocean, I presume, is the fact that it depicts a body that is completely fully engrossed. And if you are in that state of being fully engrossed, then the desires may not affect you in the same manner. So it just talks about, again, from a conduct in daily life perspective, it is to be in that fully engrossed state so that you are able to manage your desires and you don't become overcome by desires to do something which is not appropriate.
Okay. Slightly different the way in which I am looking at this. Firstly,
always, sir.
Yeah.
Always
please.
you mention Yeah, always you tell in the class, because you are in a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and your mind, suddenly you see nobody is there surrounded, you feel scared. That scaredness is because of the attachment. So just leave that and build be a union with that Pacific Ocean. That may be that is the comparison for this one.
Yeah, sure. So, yes, of course, I've used that as an analogy a number of times in the classroom. But then, see, the first point where I'll start off in explaining this from my perspective is back to that sadhu who I've talked about. आप कहाँ बैठे हैं महात्मा? Where are you? और प्रॉब्लम हमारा ये है कि हम वो सरफेस पे बैठे हैं जहां ये उथल पुथल हो रही है. टू टेक रघु's एग्जाम्पल अ लिटिल फर्दर, हम थोड़ा और वहां से चले जाए और ये सोचे कि ये किस चीज में हो रहा है, ये उथल पुथल कहाँ हो रहा है, ये मेरे मन में हो रहा है. और फिर और थोड़ा जाकर बोले ये मन के उथल पुथल को कौन देख रहा है. नाउ यू सी, यू आर शिफ्टिंग योर पोजिशन ऑफ वेयर यू आर सिटिंग to the witness consciousness quickly, very quickly. It's a fantastic meditation. Now, once you have reached that stage where you're seeing everything, you are at the depth of the ocean watching all those troubling things happening above. That's number one, right? One thing that I feel about this particular lesson or this particular shloka. The other is that desires do not disturb me. Why? Because I do not attach myself to those desires. Think about chapter 2, verse 62 and verse 63, the fall of ladder, the ladder of fall. Right? I have attachments. Attachments leads to desires. Desires leads to anger. Anger ultimately leads to buddhi bhrashta. And I have a complete fall. Right? Pranashyati, he uses the word. Pranashyati. So this whole destruction that happens, it happens from that particular point where I'm saying I am attached. But if I am the ocean, now who is the ocean? We have the whole analogy of the water, ocean, waves, droplets, all of that we have used a number of times. So that is another thing that I think of. If you want to look at any cross reference, I would like to hear if anybody has found a cross reference to this particular shloka.
Not exactly that, but going back to the previous points, for me in this shloka, what appealed to me was also the achala pratishtham. That, with all the various things happening in the thing, that being steady and, somehow that word
yeah, so which is why he uses the word apurvamanam. He says it will never overflow despite all that trouble that is happening. So very nice, very right. Any cross references?
Not a cross reference, but I wanted to point out, when I'm doing my dhyanam, and throughout your teachings, you give us beautiful analogies, and they peg you very nicely. But unfortunately, these same analogies create their own thought process. Like the analogy of the president saluting the parade, immediately when I'm thinking, the thoughts are coming and say, this is like the president saluting a parade, I should not go and dance. And then immediately my thoughts go to these various floats and all that. So there is this, of course, I'm not complaining. The analogy is very appropriate, but this gives me an additional problem that I have to, and that's when I actually use that technique you mentioned, the Nanyar technique. Who are these thoughts coming to? And when I start looking like that, then I say, who is this thought coming to? I'm immediately thinking, oh, I'm the president. I'm supposed to be standing saluting. I'm not supposed to be getting this one. So that kind of brings me back to myself, and the thoughts actually vanish. They actually go away, because now the focus is on the observer, the thing, and that. So everything in life brings a fruit, but it also gives you some problem along with it.
So think of chapter 5, verse 23. Taknoti heiva yasodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodho bhavam vegam sayukta sukhi naraha. Right? So beautifully he says. Shaknoti sodhum. He who can damn sodhum. Actually, the word over here he is using very, very clearly, withstand. He who can withstand. He who can dam. Who can create the dam. Right? That's a beautiful cross reference that I feel very, very apt with the analogy of the rivers flowing into the ocean. Another analogy, another cross reference that
which
felt,
shloka is that, please? Which shloka is that?
523, 523. And
Okay.
the other one that I felt was very, very apt because of the word itself where it starts. Any of you know the name of the Pacific Ocean in Hindi or in Sanskrit?
Prashant Mahasagar.
Correct. Prashanta Mahasagar. Now use the word Prashanta, right? Because it immediately brings to me that huge, vast body of hot water which is not moving at all. And in that, therefore, chapter 6, verse 27, Prashanta Manasam Yonam Yogina Sukhamuttamam Upeti Shanta Rajasam Brahma Bhutama Kalmasham. Now he uses the word Shanta Rajasam, not Shanta Tamasam, not Shanta Sattvam, right? Shanta Rajasam. The process of wanting to fulfill desires originates in the Rajasic mode. And therefore he uses the word Shanta Rajasam. We will look at the yogas of the gunas and all that as we go into chapter 13, 14, 15. We will see a lot of the gunas. But here, essentially, you have to take it for face value right now, that when he's saying Shanta Rajasam, he's not talking of Shanta Tamasam, because Tamasam, there is no activity in Tamasam. And in Sattvam, there is no desire. Hence, there is activity, right? Gurudev used to say, inactivity, activity, non-activity. He used to describe it this way. Inactivity, activity, non-activity. So you are active, but it is not active. Right? That is a beautiful way of trying to put it, because words are obviously always very limited. But then that is another cross reference that you can look at. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Now the another one, which is obviously my very, very close to me. One verse which I always tell people, please chant it every day, at least when you are eating. One of the verse that you cannot do, one of the activities that you cannot do without consciousness being activated is the fact of eating. And hence, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir. Please, somebody, I need, now the questions are not straightforward. The questions are and now I'm going to bring in a little bit of technical Advaita here. So I want you to think about this. Why is this a vision of non-duality in action? Why is this a vision of non-duality in action? And how would my daily work be transformed if seen through this vision? And then I want a cross-reference.
Could you please repeat the shloka you are asking now? My phone connection went off, so I couldn't hear.
Number
424. 424.
Okay. Thank you.
The verse you are supposed to chant before eating.
Yeah.
I'm repeating my questions. First, how does it show me, give me a vision of non-duality in action? And how does my life transform when I operate through this vision? And then cross-reference. Yes, Abhishek.
I will try to make a beginning. Anybody else is saying?
No. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, but non-duality is a very, very strong tool to my mind. As long as I'm able to see myself as not the thing I'm seeing. For example, even in duality, I see the other thing as, as something. See, for example, I will give this similarity in my body. I can say this hand is me, but am I able to see the hand? Yes. So whatever I am able to see is I am not that. So
Wonderful.
if I negate one by one like this, that Atman, I discover that I am not what I see, what I experience, what happens to me. I'm not all that. I am unaffected by all these. I am that Brahman or consciousness in me. So the moment that feeling comes, the non-duality totally goes. Very difficult, but the concept is understood. The concept is very well understood, but very difficult to practice, because we always get affected by our bodily impulse, by our mental makeup, etc., etc. But like everything, even it is said that the very eye with which I am seeing is not me, because I am able to see that eye myself. Some people say that, well, you see the reflection of your eye in the mirror, but what you are seeing in the mirror is the reflection, not your eye. So I have understood this concept very well, not able to practice so much.
So
But
very
I am not
nicely,
able to give a cross-reference.
Partha, very nicely, before I go to Abhishek, who has raised his hand earlier, very beautifully you have brought out the first step of practical Vedanta. The first step of practical Vedanta is to negate everything around you, excepting yourself. The second step of practical Vedanta is to then project yourself into everything. Now, these are two steps. And the first step is necessary to go to the second step. Vedanta is at the second step, right? But in the first step is necessary. It's a necessary step. So when we say Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, that is the first step only. And what you actually quoted virtually was directly from a very, very powerful text by Acharya called Drishya Viveka, where he actually exactly uses the same terminology of subject and object. And it was a very powerful analogy that you used. My question here is, so fantastic. It gives me that vision of non-duality, but what are those components when we say Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavya, Brahmakarma Samadhina? What is it that vision of non-duality in action is coming from? What is it that is being talked about in the action part is something that I would like you to think about. Just while you are talking about this, you actually almost reached there and then you stopped a little short, and I don't know why, because I'm sure you have that in your understanding. But let's hear Abhishek here. Abhishek.
I was going to say Sarvam Brahma Mayam Jagat. So, this shlok very beautifully, through one example, helps us visualize that everything is Brahma, everything is that, water of the ocean. And that is how, practically the steps which were just mentioned in the earlier part of the conversation, one can start doing that. And this is one visualization of it, that the one who is doing the offering, what is being offered into the Agni, which is, in which the offering is begun, everything is Brahma. So,
okay, that's a very good stand to take. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah. So, in fact, for me, this verse brings us to that second stage of Vedanta, actually, because the first stage is necessary because we so strongly attach ourselves to this body, mind, intellect, and then obviously to all the possessions accumulated by this body, mind, intellect, and so on. Okay, relationships and all that is just attached to this body, mind, intellect, and we are attached to that. So that needs to be broken. To break that, we need that first step. But once we have broken that, we have to attach to something. like you have said in some of your classes. And what is that? That is that Atman that Parthoda mentioned. Okay. And what is that Atman? The Atman is actually pervading everywhere. It's everything. Before we can understand that we are everything, we have to first detach from the limited thing that we think we are. Only then we can be able to achieve that personification with all of creation. Okay. So Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havihi gets us to that stage when we start attaching, when we realize that everything is one. And in our Aarti, we say, no, Tera Tere Arpana, you know.
Tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera.
Kya lage mera. Exactly. So, you know, it's... we think we are giving things. No, we are not giving anything. It's all just we are in the process. We are in the action. We are basically just doing the action. Everything is done. You know, His will be done, as the Christians say. That's how it's being done. Again, it's not His. We don't think that His and I are different. We are in Advaitic concept. Both of us are one, but it is that will that is being done. Okay. So to me, when we bring this into our lives, we lose that ego. That is, you know, when the moment we see that everything is Parabrahman, then how can I be proud of what I'm doing? What is that to be proud of? It is the cosmic supreme in action. So, you know, you lose that ego and your actions become much more pure. They are not selfish.
Okay. Yes. Anji Meena ji.
वही सब चीजों में उसी को देखना, वो मुझ में है, मैं उसमें नहीं हूँ। तो ब्रह्मणा उत्तम, यानी कि सबसे पहले ब्रह्मणार्पणम, यानी ब्रह्म वही है सब कुछ, जो मैं कुछ भी अर्पित कर रही हूँ, चाहे मेरी श्वास है या मेरा कुछ भी है, सब कुछ उसको अर्पण कर, ब्रह्मार्पणम, मैं उसको ही अर्पण कर रही हूँ, है ना। और ब्रह्माग्नौ, तो जो अग्नि है, जो जिसको मैं अर्पण कर रही हूँ, अग्नि मीन्स तो कि ये संसार जिसमें मैं रहती हूँ, जिसमें मैं अपना सब कुछ दे रही हूँ, ये भी ब्रह्म ही है, इसको भी मैं ब्रह्म ही जानूं। ब्रह्मा और ब्रह्मणाहुतम, जो ये हवन करने वाला है, ब्रह्मणा, जो मैं हवन कर रही हूँ, मैं इस शरीर से हवन कर रही हूँ, शरीर से कोई भी कार्य कर रही हूँ, तो वो भी ब्रह्म ही है। यानी हर चीज में ब्रह्म को ही देखना, चाहे वो श्वासों का देना है, किसी कार्य को करना है, या कोई भी चीज है, सब में उसको ही देखना, क्योंकि वही है कर्ता धर्ता। जिस प्रकार से हम हवन करते हैं, तो सब कुछ डालने के पश्चात भी हवन कुंड की अग्नि के बाद में सिर्फ ऐश ही हमारे वहां बचती है, सिर्फ राख बचती है, तो यानी वही सत्य है, इसके अतिरिक्त कुछ भी सत्य नहीं है। इसलिए सबको देखते हुए अटैच से डिटैच होने की प्रक्रिया ब्रह्मार्पण।
Very nice. Any cross reference? क्रॉस रेफरेंस मुझे एक बहुत अच्छा वर्ड्स लगता है, बहुत सारे क्रॉस रेफरेंस है इसके, but the one that I think is a direct application in terms of action, not the fact that there is everything is Brahman, right? The Ishavasya Upanishad very clearly says that the Ishavasya Midagam Sarvam, etc., right? So, Tena Taktena Bhunjita. The awareness that everything is Brahman, the hand which has gone out with that ladle, and the ladle itself, and the thing that is in the ladle, and the fire in which that ladle is going, all of it is Brahman. Very good. How does it apply in my day-to-day action? He says in chapter 9, verse 27, if you read that chapter, Yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, tadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat purusha madarpanam. To me, and here obviously that me is not, as I always say, not the physical form of Krishna, but me is that supreme witness consciousness that pervades into everything that is this and this in this universe. So, yat karoshi, whatever you do. Yat ashnasi, whatever you eat, yet juhoshi, whatever you are offering to the sacred fire, which means to whatever you are doing in terms of all activities, dadasi, give it as a gift, dadasi yet tapasyasi, even your tapasya, he kaunteya tat kurushva, that which you do, mad arpana. That he says over there. So we have.
Yes, in the 927, don't you think still that Dvaita Bhav is still there?
No, see, that I will tell you.
And Krishna.
Parthada, what I will tell you here is very simple. You can approach from whichever perspective and facet that you want and where you stand. If I am standing and I am not at any point of time, please do not take this as denigrating any school of thought. And nor am I, because I am a non-dualist, putting myself up on a pedestal and saying that dualism is bachcho ka khel, and so on and so forth. I'm not doing that. I'm saying that every path devoted with 100% in it will lead to that ultimate goal in whichever way. It is only that you have to follow that path which you will be ready and consistent to take it to your end. If you are sitting down on a path because you see somebody else doing something and that path is into which you jump because you saw somebody else, that means you began with a comparison, then, and that path may not be yours, you are going to find that path to be very difficult. Right?
So
you are going to find that path.
Bhagavad
Yes.
Gita that way beautifully mixes this Dvaita and Advaita.
It can be interpreted.
I don't see a contradiction.
No, there is none. There is none. And that is why when Swami Vivekananda talks about the Karma Yoga, if you see his lectures on Karma Yoga, he is very clearly a non-dualist. We all know that, right? However, he approaches this entire dualistic proposition with a very, very open Catholicity in his mind, where he says that even that dualistic approach of so-called external manifestation of devotion, of worshipping an idol and doing kirtan and all of that, when done with that viewpoint that is nothing but the universal witness consciousness, will take you to the same point. And do we have proof of that? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa is the proof.
Correct.
Living proof of having accepted Islam or Christianity are very clearly extreme dualistic religions. Right? There is no possible merger also. There is no question of possible merger also. And you and God are completely different principles. You cannot become God ever. Right? You cannot become Allah ever. Despite that, when Thakur approached these religions, what happened? He crossed that border. From the dualistic viewpoint, he merged into that oneness. So all of these paths, and that is why he established that beautiful saying, isn't it? Jato path, tato mat. Jato mat, tato path. Right? So as many thoughts you have, as many paths you want to choose, but you cannot jump from one path to the other. That is where the problem lies.
What do you mean by jumping? No, sometimes Vivekananda said that through Dvaita, he can go to Advaita.
No.
It
So
can
that
be a bridge.
So that is what. Through Dvaita, when you get into Dvaita and you start worshipping and then you come so close and you come so close that you merge.
Yeah, you become one. Correct.
And then you see yourself. And then you see yourself and you look around, you see everything is her.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
So the two stages from Advaita from Dvaita to Vishishta Advaita, I and she have become one, and then she is everywhere, is non-dual. Those three are just sequential steps.
Absolutely.
And which is why Prabhakar Maharaj, when he was talking of this, and I have mentioned this. Hi, 1 minute, Meenaji. So when he was mentioning this, he said, see, Adi Shankaracharya came, explained Advaita, he understood that people don't understand it, so he came back as Ramanujacharya, taught the same principles as a slightly watered down version. He understood these also they don't understand. Okay, let me come as Madhvacharya. And then he said, okay, even this they don't understand. Let me come down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say, only thing you have to do is raise your hands and sing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He tried to water it down to a point where you can choose whatever methodology you want. Yes, Meenaji.
Yes, you are completed our things. I think the caterpillar वाला जो आप एग्जांपल देते हैं ना,
हाँ जी,
कैटरपिलर वाला आप एग्जांपल देते हैं कि द्वैत से अद्वैत तक जाने के लिए एक फॉर्म की या किसी चीज की आवश्यकता होती है, जिसको पकड़ के जंप लगाया जा सकता है उसकी तरफ.
करेक्ट.
सभी चीजों से डिटेच हुआ जा सकता.
So coming back to this jumping thing, I like the building analogy with the ladders on the side, the steps. Some are rope ladders, some are just ropes. Okay. Now you are on any one ladder going to the top. The party is on the roof. That is the goal. The party is on the roof. You are on any ladder that is going up. You've gone up halfway. Whatever happens, if you want to change, you can't jump to another ladder. You'll have to probably come down. If you try to jump, you will fall. But then you have to come down, start again from the bottom and go up. Then for a person who is like a paraplegic, whose hands are very strong, for him, a ladder is not very useful. The rope is the easiest thing. He can climb up just using the rope. And so what suits you will be different from person to person. Where you stand will be different. So you should not jump. But like any party, the more the merrier. So whichever ladder you're on, if you see somebody else in another ladder is also climbing, encourage them, because when they reach the top, you'll have more people there, you'll have more fun, right? So that's what I tell people. Encourage others to do what they are doing, and you do what you are doing. Don't try to jump. You focus on what is suited for you and do that.
Okay, let's move on. Last question, then we will Adi.
For me, when I started chanting, one of the first things which struck me most was, see, this shloka takes you beyond the name and form. You know, we say the ladder, the havan, this, everything, even the offering also, you know, the action. So this is going from the name and forms to the beyond.
Okay. So the next one that again, another of my very, very strong favorites, chapter 6, verse 5.
Yeah, Uddaret Atmanatmanam.
Yes. Uddaret Atmanam.
Yes.
So now, here is my question. What is this lifting yourself by yourself? What does it mean in, say, in your day-to-day life? What are we talking about in our day-to-day life? And what does this indicate in terms of spiritual practice? So 2 questions here. One is, other than the cross-reference is a permanent question. First is, what is the actual meaning when we say lift yourself by yourself? Number 1. And number 2, we have, what does this mean in your day-to-day life, or your material life, and in spiritual life? Are the meanings different? Are they interpreted differently? What actions does this result in? All yours.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay. In this shloka, what my understanding is like, you should not have any doubt on yourself what you are doing. If you have doubt, then you are the enemy of yourself.
Okay. Yes.
One more thing I will say, that Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, all my lectures are good, but you have to fight your own battle. I cannot do anything there.
Very nice. Yes. Anyone? Yes, Raghuji, you raised your hand.
So, and this is not a complaint. Let me put that. So, it is actually this verse that, if you notice, okay, the Aproksha Anubhuti, the classes have been interrupted for a long time. Then now in the last few weeks, you've seen that I've started progressing on my own, right? So it is this verse that said, okay, whatever it is, for some, whatever reason, good reasons that the class is not happening, but you've already given us the Kindle of Swami Chinmayananda, the Bhashyam on the thing. I have it. What prevents me from starting working on that? And then as I proceeded further, then I could link back to verses in Bhagavad Gita, and that cross-referencing is giving me very good insights. My daily japa in the morning has changed. You've told very many times, use the thorn of the breath to take out the thorn of the focus, the mind running away, bring the mind under control, right? And I never understood it. I've been doing japa now for so many years. I've never understood it. Now I understand it. I've actually started being able to do the focus on the breath properly and bring the breath in, and that all those things changed. Then this came to the point of looking at Nanyar and bring that, and there is a lot of peace, amazing peace in the morning. I almost like every morning I want to do sit down and do this japa, because it gets me that few moments of absolute bliss. And again, the one that triggered it is Udriyatmanam.
Very nice. Anything else? Because here, my question is also, what does it mean in terms of, yes, Meenaji, both.
धरेतात्मानम यानी मन, इस श्लोक में मन को बताया गया कि हमारा जो मन है वही सब चीजों का कारण है। यानी मन को यदि हम जिस गति की तरफ ले जाएंगे, मन को यदि हम अभ्यास डालेंगे नित्य अपनी साधना से, योग से, जप से, तप से, किसी भी प्रकार से, तो वो ऊपर की ओर गमन करेगा। तो सब कुछ उस मन पर ही निर्भर है। मन से ही सारा संसार घटनाएं, जितने भी घटना चक्र होते हैं वो मन के ही ऊपर हो रहे होते हैं। यदि मन को अभ्यास में लाने की आवश्यकता है, मन से ही हमारे कर्म बनते हैं, अच्छे या बुरे, या फिर सारे जो भी हमारी क्रियाएं वो मन पर ही निर्भर करती है। मन से ही हम शत्रु और मित्र बनाते हैं। ये मेरा मित्र है, ये मेरा शत्रु है, इसने ऐसा कह दिया, इसने वैसा। ये एक ऐसी परत है जहाँ सब कुछ चल रहा होता है। तो इस मन से परे झांकने का संदेश ये श्लोक हमें देता है। और इसके अलावा हमारे दैनिक जीवन में और हमारी स्पिरिचुअलिटी में इसका क्या मतलब महत्व है, तो नित्य यदि हम मन का अभ्यास करते हैं ऊपर उठाने के लिए अपने स्वयं साधना से, या जो भी हम करते हैं श्वासों के द्वारा, श्वासों को आहुति देने में, तो ये कि मन से हम बहुत सारी चीजों को लेट गो कर सकते हैं कि ये हो रहा है, और हम मन को नो, यानी हर समय उसको नो बोलना सिखाए। मन भागता है, उसको रोक करके वापस लेके आए, जैसे कि आया। और धार्मिक यात्रा में तो ये है ही हमारा कि जैसे जैसे हम इस पर कार्य करते जाएंगे तो बहुत सारे हमारे जो अटैचमेंट्स हैं वो स्वतः ही छूटते ही चले जाएंगे, और अपने आप ही उन चीजों से वो सब हमारे बैरियर्स है कटते चले जाएंगे। तो इसीलिए मन को हमेशा ऊर्ध्वगामी।
Okay. Abhishek, any question? You have raised your hands also.
So I think इसमें Krishna gives a lot of confidence by telling that you have agency. जो मेरे पास अभी बॉडी, माइंड, इंटेलेक्ट, ईगो, यही चीजें हैं, मैं तो उसी में लिप्त हूँ। तो उन्हीं चीजों को यूज करके इफ यू यूज योर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, डू जपा, डू प्रैक्टिस, तो आप डे टू डे लाइफ में भी बेटर वर्क कर सकते हो, जो उन्होंने पूरा गाइडेंस दिया है। एंड स्पिरिचुअल पाथ में भी आगे बढ़ सकते हो इफ यू यूज these things that you have and identified with correctly. two practices. जो मीना जी
Very nice. For me, it's a very day-to-day, very simple thing. If you're conscious, yes, Sudhirji, sorry.
What for me it was essentially in my interpretation was faith and intellect. A lot of time intellect comes into play to create doubts and creates that feeling of a different strain of thoughts, and to keep the faith alive at various points of time. And that was the way I thought about it.
Okay. Not taking anything away from your stand, Sudhir, but see, faith by definition leaves space for doubt, right? Do you believe in the sun? No, I don't. I have no belief in the sun because I know the sun exists. There's a big jump, no? And Advaita does not depend upon faith. It brings in faith later. It brings in faith later, which is why, very interestingly, in the structure of the Bhagavad Gita, the essential bhakti comes after a non-dual vision. A non-dual vision. And a lot of times I am questioned that what is this talk of, you're talking of being detached. So should I not love my children? Should I not love my parents? Should I not love the way I work? And my question is, just ask yourself, what are you asking? You are saying, my children, my parents. You have a my there. The love is not about your parents or your children, it's about me. Now, if that me is the same as my child, will my love become deeper or will it become lesser? Think about it. And therefore, my love becomes, it doesn't have, and therefore now I have complete faith. You cannot shake me. You cannot shake me by any argument because my experiential truth is at that level. And that is where this particular shloka gives me that power. You know what? Because every moment of my life I experience this. Try and get up from the chair where you are sitting on. You will put your hands on the handle and you will get up. Uddharet atmana atmanam. You got up by yourself with your own support. You are your support. That's the essential. It's so empowering. It is extremely empowering. But you know what? We
But many
allow.
times.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But many times the inconsequentiality of your being becomes so empowering that you need a certain faith. I'll tell you, maybe I'll take 1 minute, but
Go
yesterday,
ahead.
yesterday, for example, I was at this museum with dinosaurs and this and that, and where it was kind of said that the Stegosaurus got extinct 150 million years ago. This huge animal got extinct. Man was came in this current form about 400,000 years ago. And when you think of these dimensions and then you feel, and then there was this thing about 99% of the organisms that came to Earth have got extinct. Then you feel that statistically, therefore, the 99% confidence interval is that man will also get extinct. And then the inconsequentiality of your existence, what you're doing then you say that only faith is required at a certain level to kind of get into this. And that is what the way I thought about this.
So
that
I'm not.
intellect.
Yeah, of course. I'm not taking that away. I am now shifting that and saying, when you say extinct, what got extinct? The name and the form got extinct. Did consciousness get extinct? At no point did consciousness stop existing. At no point. You are limiting your concept of consciousness to the body, mind, intellect. And I'm saying it's pervading everything here. And when I limit it, it says you are allowing yourself to fall. You are allowing yourself to fall. You have caused this fall by limiting yourself. You are unlimited. You are pulling yourself down. Don't do that. That is the power that he gives us. And therefore, to conclude, he basically, if you look at cross-reference in this own chapter itself, he gives you very clear practices. What are you supposed to do? As an example, I will just say, look at chapter 6, verse 17. Yukta hara, yukta vihara, yukta cheshta, yukta karma, yukta swapna, yukta bodha. Right? Everything in clear moderation. Do everything in moderation. Be very, very conscious of what you are doing. Do not get into your actions with that fervor in the body, mind, intellect, that everything has to be at extremes. Every step that you are doing, and the moment you want to apply that moderation, what has happened? You have started thinking of where you are. Aap kahan baithe hain, Mahatman? That question pops up again.
Actually, today's quote from Sadhguru on the app is basically, there is no such thing as having achieved your fullest potential. As a human being, you are a limitless possibility.
Correct. Okay, today we will stop here for the want of time. We have reached, I think, somewhere around chapter 6 is where we are, somewhere in the middle of chapter 6. I have about 3 more questions. What I will do is I will post those questions and give you sort of a, what do you call it? Cheat paper, paper leak in advance. So I'll give you the question paper. I took some time to prepare a question paper this time instead of going random like last time I did. This time I actually took time to prepare a question paper. So therefore, I have a question paper in hand. I will send it to you. What I would recommend is that you do your manan around these. They will be a very good prop for giving you a very good sort of revision around whatever we have been doing. You can obviously go back to the to the videos. Abhishek has found a sort of hack. He is going to the Gita on the Go series, which is obviously a summarized version. So he's found a hack. So I'm sharing the hack with all of you, that you can perhaps go and use that route if you want. You also have all the videos available. You also have Gurudev's entire repository available. But I would like you to rather, instead of going all over there, I would like you to think on your own, because after all, Uddharet Atmana, right? So we have to do it ourselves. So I would really recommend that you think, apply yourself, make notes of what you are thinking. And then in our next session, we will have a deeper discussion on this. Our next session will be on 7th, not on 31st, because on 31st we have a puja at home. And those who are in Bombay, you are welcome. I mean, those who are not in Bombay are also welcome. But those who are in Bombay obviously are easier access to the puja venue. So you're welcome to come and participate in the Abhishek to Ganesha. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, but you already said it's not next week, because this week I'm traveling to London. So next Saturday I'll be in London with my kids over there. So probably not be able to attend the class. So I was going to say I will not be able to attend the class, but we're not going to have a class anyway, so it's okay.
Okay. Silly.
You are starting on 7th, chapter 12. No, I'm eagerly waiting for that.
No. We will have to first finish our
You are
quiz.
talking to Auntie, and you can skip one more session.
No,
You
you
are
have to
not
first
allowed.
finish. You have first you have to finish the quiz.
Okay, thank you.
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.